Blood of Zeus, a call to arms. In an age when gods still walked the earth and the winds carried the scent of ambrosia from Olympus, a storm brewed far beneath the shimmering surface of peace. The world had long borne the weight of both divine favor and divine wrath. And though the mortal realm toiled in their fields and temples, unaware, a shadow had already begun to unfurl its dark wings upon the land. Far across the seas, where bones of titans lay beneath crumbled mountains, and the rivers remembered the blood spilled in wars between gods and giants, an ancient evil stirred once more. The remnants of a brutal conflict, the war between the Olympians and the monstrous giants, had not vanished. Some things never truly die. They sleep, awaiting the right wind, the right spark, to awaken again. It began with a ship. A merchant vessel, unremarkable in size but carrying precious goods, drifted across the wine-dark sea. The sky above, though, calm, held the uneasy stillness of breath held too long. Then, without warning, the sea grew angry. From the depths rose a creature of nightmare, twisted flesh, too many eyes, a maw that screamed with hunger centuries old. The sailors screamed, but the gods did not answer. The beast tore through wood and bone with equal fury, and when the sea calmed again, there was no trace of ship or crew, only the silence of the deep and the cold wake of something newly born. These were the demons, creatures born from the ashes of the defeated giants, resurrected by hatred, animated by vengeance. And though only whispers of their kind had surfaced until then, this act heralded a tide of horror. Meanwhile, far from the roaring seas and dark rituals, nestled among hills brushed with gold and villages bathed in olive light, there lived a young man named Heron. His hands were rough with the toil of labor, his eyes sharp from hardship, and his spirit heavy with questions that bore no answers. Heron was no stranger to whispers and scorn. In the village where he lived with his mother, Electra, they were outcasts, tolerated but never welcomed. The villagers saw them as strange, touched by something they did not understand. Electra kept her past buried deep, her son's questions deflected with silence, her eyes often turning to the heavens with the weight of a story untold. Heron grew, up under the burden of that mystery, caught between the world of men and something he couldn't quite name. He felt it in the way the animals paused when he passed, in how the wind seemed to bend around him, not against him. But it was not yet time for him to know who he truly was. On this particular day, black smoke curled toward the sky, darkening the sun over Heron's village. A procession of soldiers marched through the streets, armor gleaming like polished bone. Their leader, a war-hardened general named Seraphim, tall, gaunt, and cloaked in a presence as cold as a tomb. He had once been a man, but his soul had been twisted by pain and his blade by demonic blood. He led an army of monsters disguised as men, cutthroats with cursed blood pulsing in their veins, hunger in their hearts, and darkness at their command. Seraphim had heard of a fallen giant, one whose bones and heart could be harvested to summon even more demons. The site, veiled by enchantments, lay hidden in the mountains beyond Heron's village. And so, the army came not just to claim the beast, but to silence all who lived near it. Heron, drawn by fate or perhaps by the unseen pull of divine threads, ventured into the mountains on that very day. He did not seek adventure, only herbs, or perhaps a moment away from the accusing eyes of those who branded him unworthy. Yet what he found changed his life forever. The air in the highlands was thick with magic. Crags split the ground like ancient wounds, and the scent of rot lingered where the giant had fallen. Towering, grotesque, its flesh now mangled and torn, the fallen titan lay like a god struck from the heavens. From its corpse rose a strange glow, and near it moved cloaked figures with blades and chants, those who served the demon army. They carved out what remained of the giant's power, seeking to awaken even darker things. Heron, hidden in the shadows, witnessed this blasphemy and fled before he was seen. But it was too late. The wheel had turned. Back in the village, he returned to a scene of fire and ruin. Seraphim had come. The soldiers razed homes and dragged villagers into the streets. Heron, fueled by rage and desperation, fought against them. But mortal strength was no match for those born of hate and darkness. He was beaten, chained, and cast aside. His mother, however, was taken. Her presence no longer tolerated, her secrets feared. And in the skies above, the gods watched. From the halls of Olympus, golden and eternal, Zeus looked down upon the mortal world with eyes both weary and wise. He had loved Electra once, in a moment stolen from the divine order. A love that bore fruit in the form of Heron. A demigod child, unacknowledged by the heavens, raised in obscurity to protect him from Hera's wrath. For Hera, queen of Olympus, burned with fury. Betrayed time and again by Zeus's infidelities, her heart had long been tempered into something cruel. But now, she moved with cunning rather than rage. She saw the rise of demons not as a threat, but as an opportunity. A tool to unseat her husband, to rewrite the balance of power. Zeus, torn between his love for the mortal woman and the divine laws that bound him, descended in disguise, not as king of gods, but as a cloaked traveler who found Heron, broken and bleeding near death in the ashes of his village. He brought him to safety, tended his wounds, and whispered riddles of power and destiny. Yet he did not reveal himself. Not yet. The time was not right, for Heron's path had only begun. Elsewhere, Seraphim stood on the edge of a new transformation. Though born a man, his soul had long flirted with something darker. The blood of the fallen giant seeped into his blade, and then into him, awakening powers long dormant. His eyes burned with unholy light, his skin pulsed with veins of molten corruption. He was no longer merely a man with a sword, he was becoming something else, a king of monsters, a herald of chaos. As the episode drew to its end, the world shifted. A storm gathered across the lands, winds of war, fate, and old blood. Heron, marked by something ancient, now stood between the realms of man and God. And though he did not yet know it, the blood of Zeus flowed in his veins, and with it, a destiny that would shake the heavens themselves. For the call to arms had been sounded, not just in the mortal world, but across all of existence. Gods, demons, heroes, and tyrants would soon converge, their fates intertwined in a tale as old as time, and as fierce as the fire in Heron's heart. And thus began the saga, not of a god, not of a man, but of something in between.